All right, guys. Well, today this might be a short video, and just for a little background, I've been looking for an air compressor to put in the garage, preferably a large one, right? Something like 3.5 to 5 horsepower with a 60-gallon tank, so that we can run our mills and all the hand tools and all that stuff we use in there. But in this case, I ran into one. It's much smaller. But it'll do good for all your hand tools and stuff like that, right? And I could probably hook up an auxiliary tank to it for the extra 20 gallons or 30 gallons, whatever we can find. But this one, it was given to me by a customer. He said, man, this thing has been sitting here in the garage for years, who knows, 10 years. And he thinks the pump had frozen, and so they just set it aside and it sat there. And well, let's take a look at it. Yeah, so you can see this one. It's made by Quincy. I've never heard of them. Apparently, I looked them up, and they're somewhere in Alabama, I believe. And they're kind of pricey. But then when I took a look at this, and it was like, man, this thing is really put together well. Very thick steel. Nice welds. I mean, everything about it. The motor looks good. A good pump. I mean, just everything about it. It's like, man, this pretty decent build here. Looks like this one's been through it. The guy was a contractor, right? And he does framing or something. I forget. I think it was framing in the construction industry. And so he went through a lot of these. This one was electric, and he has a few of them that are gas. And I've got a couple of them that are gas. But this one, he said he thought the pump was frozen. So I said, yeah, I'll take a look at it. Great, thanks. Thanked him, and because I could use it, right? If I can get this sucker rolling, I'll put it in the garage and hook up a auxiliary tank, like I said, and that'll give me my extra capacity that I need. But everything, if I can get it running. But anyway, the point of the story, so it's been about 24 hours, and it's just under 90 psi, and that's about where I stopped it. Given that that's 90 psi is usually what you use for your tools, max. But what I did, well, let me show you what I did. So the first thing I did when I saw this, you can see I've already taken the bracing and all this stuff off the guard, and as I noticed, see these seams, this thing has been banged around, and so I unbolted everything and took the guard off and set it aside so that I can take the belt off and see if it's the motor or the pump. And see, it was just turning freely. I was like, well, holy shit. And it sounded like there was compression in it. So I just plugged it in, turned it on. Let's see, let's do it real quick. That's no problem. It's already up to 110 just in those few seconds, from 90 to 110 in whatever, how long it took. But so everything's working great. Yeah, so you can see I took that guard off so that I can take the fan belt off and take a look. I wanted to isolate the motor and the pump. Because the way it sits now, if it's binding, it's like, well, you don't know. Is it going to be the motor or the pump that's bound, right? But in this case, it was neither. It was this thing that was bent up. I mean, it was really pressed in, and it was mashing up against the pulley. Yeah, so as you troubleshoot, make sure you try to isolate each piece that could go wrong, right? Then you can test each one as it goes. So I'm just going to take some time and do my usual. I'm going to treat everything for rust, clean everything off, maybe even repaint it, and it'll be good to go. Yeah, so that was a super easy fix. And the moral of the story, I guess, what I'm trying to point out is learn how to troubleshoot your equipment and learn to work on it yourself. You'll save a lot of money, and there's some satisfaction involved with it too, for sure. You know, but if you'll just, and this goes with any of the equipment I'm working on, if you notice on all my videos, I'm trying to, you know, when I initially go and start working on something, I don't really know what's going on with it. I don't know what's wrong with it yet. But you can see where I start troubleshooting everything and then figure out what needs to be worked on, fix it, and there might be 2 or 3 things wrong. Who knows? But even with this, sure, I got it running. It was just bound up from the that guard being squished in there. It's just some simple interference. Got rid of that. But now I need to check the oil. It's been sitting for a long time. Clean everything off. Make sure all the seals are good, which it looks like they are. But you can see the very first thing I checked, fixed it, was just taking the binding off of that guard. And now as I dig in, I went ahead and aired it up to 90 to 100 pounds and let it sit overnight. I just wanted to make sure there was no leaks. Everything's sealed. It held air. It held it for so far 24 hours. And what else? And I'll check the oil, all that good stuff, and the rest of it's, you know, just rust prevention and cosmetic. But, well, there you go. So I told you that was going to be a very, very quick, easy video. But that's the point of the story, though. Just learn to troubleshoot your stuff, and don't just start throwing money at it and buying new parts without really knowing what's wrong, right? And that goes with anything, even your cars, anything when you're working on like that. I see guys all the time that really haven't diagnosed their car correctly, and they just start throwing money on new sensors, whatever, you know, spark plugs, and end up throwing a lot of money into it and not really fixing the root cause, right? So, well, that's it. I can keep rambling and rambling, but I guess that's it for this video. So, as always, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe and watch for my next video.